Hello class, this is lesson 6-5 about how to combine operations with linear expressions. So we are given some expressions here and we're asked to simplify them and then write our final answer in factored form. And because there are parentheses in each of our problems today, we need to use the distributive property to get rid of those first. So in my first example, I'll multiply negative 2 times x plus 3. So that's negative 2x, and negative 2 times 3 is negative 6, and then I'm going to add 8x. And then I can combine like terms like the negative 2x and the positive 8x, which simplify to positive 6x minus 6. And then I'm going to look to see what they have in common, and they both have a 6 in common, so I'm going to factor that out, and I'm left with x minus 1 on the inside. And that's our final answer, is 6 times x minus 1. So let's go ahead and do this again. Negative 3, let's distribute and multiply it by the 4m and also by the negative 9. So negative 3 times 4m is negative 12m, and negative 3 times negative 9 is positive 27. And then I'm still adding that 30m. So now when I combine like terms, I have negative 12m plus positive 30m, which leaves me with positive 18m. And then I still am going to add that 27. And now when I factor these, I look to see what they have in common, and the greatest common factor is 9. And so inside, I'm left with 2m plus 3. And that's my final answer. So hopefully you're getting the hang of this. Let's look at a few more. These two examples, we're not going to factor our final answer, but we need to simplify what we have. So again, let's use the distributive property. And I'm just going to rewrite that 3/8 y to begin with. And then I have 1/2 times 1/4, which is 1/8 y. And 1/2 times negative 2 is negative 1, because the 2's will cancel out. In terms of my like terms, I can add the 3/8 plus the 1/8 y, which leaves me with 4/8 y minus 1. And I know that 4/8 simplifies to 1/2, so my final answer is 1/2 y minus 1. So hopefully you followed along with that one. Our next example is very similar. I'm going to again use the distributive property and multiply everything by negative 1/4. So make sure you pay attention to that negative sign. So I'm going to rewrite the 5/12 a, and negative 1/4 times 2/3 is negative 2/12 a. And then negative 1/4 times negative 8 is positive 2. Now I can combine like terms. 5/12 a minus 2/12 a leaves me with 3/12 a plus 2, and the 3/12 can be simplified to 1/4. So 1/4 a plus 2 is my final answer here. All right, so now that you're getting good at this, let's look at a couple more examples. This time we are going to simplify and write our final answer in factored form again, and I have a lot to do. So I'm going to use the distributive property like I've been doing. But just to make sure I don't make any mistakes, I'm going to write it all the way out. So 2/3 times 18p, and then also 2/3 times negative 12. And then I'm actually going to use the distributive property again because it's really like negative 1 is being multiplied by everything inside. So negative 1 times 6p, and then also negative 1 times 7. So now I can go ahead and clean this up. So I'm going to cross cancel the 3 and the 18, which will leave me with 6, and 2 times 6p is 12p. I can do that again. The 3 and the negative 12 can cross cancel, and that leaves me with negative 4, and 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Negative 1 times 6p is negative 6p, and negative 1 times 7 is negative 7. So I've removed all my parentheses, and now I just need to combine like terms. So 12p minus 6p is positive 6p, and negative 8 combined with negative 7 is negative 15. So that's minus 15. And now I'm going to factor out anything that they have in common, and the greatest common factor here would be, looks like just a 3. So I'm left with 2p minus 5 on the inside. And that is my final answer. All right, so let's go ahead and do this again. We're going to distribute that 2/3 times everything on the inside. And again, I'm just going to write it out fully to make sure I don't make any mistakes when I'm learning this. So 2/3 times 27t plus 2/3 times negative 45. And then again, since I'm subtracting this whole group of 4t minus 9, I need to really use the distributive property. So it's -1 times 4t, and then minus 1 times -9. So I have that all laid out. Let's go ahead and try to reduce some things. So the 3 and the 27 reduce to 9, and 2 times 9t is 18t. Again, the 3 and the -45 can also reduce, so that's -15, and 2 times -15 is -30. -1 times 4t is just -4t, and -1 times -9 is +9. Combining like terms, I have 18t minus 4t, which leaves me with 14t. And then -30 added to +9 is -21. So I'll write -21. And now to wrap it up, what do they have in common? Well, the greatest common factor is 7. So I'm left on the inside with 2t minus 3. And now I'm done with that example. So to wrap up this lesson, we're going to look at one word problem. And it says a rectangular garden has a length of 3x feet and a width of 5 feet. There is a 3-foot sidewalk around the garden. Write an expression in factored form that represents the sidewalk area. So really, I just want to find out the area of that outside border. And so I'm going to just label some things that I know. The length of the flower bed is 3x and the width is 5. And then that sidewalk border is 3 feet all the way around. So I'm going to just label all the different places just so that I know that it's 3 feet all the way around. And hopefully that makes sense to you. So there we go. So to find the area of this outer border, really what we're going to do is we're going to be thinking of a picture frame. So we're going to be thinking of finding that entire area of that large rectangle and then cutting out the area of the garden. So that smaller rectangle. And then when I do that, I'm going to be left with just the outside area. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So let's go ahead and find the dimensions of this large rectangle. So I'm going to add up all the way across. So that's 3 plus 3x plus 3. And then the vertical, that width, would be 3 plus 5 plus 3. So now that we've sketched this out, let's go ahead and simplify these expressions. So the length would be 3x plus 6, and the width added together would be 11. And then that garden on the inside, the length was 3x and the width was 5. So now I can find the area of each of these rectangles. So 11 times 3x is 33x, and 11 times 6 is 66. And then for the garden, 5 times 3x is 15x, and I'm going to subtract this from the larger area. So 33x minus 15x leaves me with 18x added to the 66. We're almost done. All we need to do now is factor it out. So what do they have in common? They both have a 6 in common, which leaves us with 3x plus 11 on the inside. And that's it. So I hope that this lesson made sense. Please let me know if you have any questions when you come into class.